Caught a vibe. Baby, are you coming for the ride?
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Amara and I am so unbelievably happy that you are here. Today's video is going to be a bit of a life update. It has been a year since I moved my entire life here to Dubai, and if you watched my video this time last year about moving here, I moved here without a job. I moved here to be self-employed and pursue a career as a self-employed yoga teacher. And this is going to be 1 year down the line, my life a year on in Dubai. So I think it's going to be a bit of a long one, so feel free to grab yourself a cup of tea. I haven't planned what I'm going to say, so it's going to be a big old kind of life catch up, but also the years gone by and how different does my life look now compared to what it looked like a year ago, all about Dubai and things like that. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so if you were following me this time last year, or if you maybe have stumbled across that video of me moving to Dubai, this is the 1 year later, and oh my goodness, everything has changed. My life has completely changed and I'm so grateful. My career has changed, me as myself has changed, honestly just my entire world has changed. And yeah, where to even begin? So when I first moved to Dubai, I had recently left my job as a primary school teacher, and I left that job because it was making me really unwell. My mental health was not thriving, and I had been moving through issues with an eating disorder and over stress and anxiety and just constantly overwhelmed, and it was driving me into being really not only mentally unwell but physically quite unwell as well. So when I had the opportunity to move here, my boyfriend got a job as a lawyer out here, so we had the opportunity to move. I used it as a real opportunity to try something new and pursue my passion for yoga and see if I could make a career out of being a self-employed yoga teacher here in Dubai. Honestly, I moved out here and I had no idea. I had just about researched how to get myself a self-employed visa, and that was it. All I had was this like blind faith, and I had my intuition telling me that it was all going to work out and it was all going to work out for the highest good. And I was vision boarding and I had such a clear vision of what I wanted to achieve, and I think I've achieved every single one of those things in just 1 year. And honestly, it has been incredible. Those are the only words I can say. Obviously moving to Dubai, Dubai is in the Middle East and I didn't really know what to expect, but the one thing I will say about Dubai is I love it here. Dubai has such a beautiful energy about it. It's obviously a big city and it's all about, even the UAE, not just Dubai. So if you don't know, Dubai is an emirate in the UAE, which is the country. The UAE as a whole has this real energy about it of, we make the impossible happen. So anything you thought was impossible, you can do it here. And I truly do believe that that energy goes into everything. I don't know if I'd be doing what I'm doing right now if I wasn't in Dubai, because there is just this energy around making stuff happen, and it happens so quickly, as you will sort of hear as I describe sort of what's happened over the past year. So when I moved out here as a unemployed yoga teacher, to put it very bluntly, completely true, I had just recently sort of graduated from my yoga teacher training. Obviously I've been doing my training for a long time because I did it over the course of a year because I was working full time. So yeah, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and I first started by creating my online membership. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I needed to do something, and that seemed very much in my control. So I started with that, and then when I sort of settled, I began to think about, okay, well, how do I want to do this? And I began to sort of go to studios and see if I could find a studio that would work for me. And I tried a few, and a few of them didn't really gel with me, and eventually I stumbled upon the studio where I work at now, and I actually walked in for a crystal healing training. And as you do, was like, oh, if you're looking for any yoga teachers, I'd really love to, I'm looking for some more classes, I've just moved here, this, that, and the other. Little did I know that that was going to be the first day of what my life was going to look like right now. I just walked into the space and I knew immediately. I was like, I'm moving in. I feel like this is my space, and my intuition just clicked. It was like I'd been there before, and that was the real beginning of it. Little did I know that in a year's time, or even just a short few months' time, I would have a full-time table of classes at this studio. I would be helping teach their yoga teacher training, and I would just have really found my in-person home in Dubai, and I am so unbelievably grateful for that. I do have such a passion for teaching in person, so having a space where I can channel all of my energy, it makes me so unbelievably happy. Another thing I knew I really wanted to do when I moved out here was I really wanted to teach at some of the incredible landmarks in Dubai, because if you've seen any, I feel like it's in a lot of the Dubai tourism stuff, but you can do yoga anywhere in Dubai. It's great. And they have a lot of yoga that goes on in the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world, and with the view at the Palm. And that was really on my vision board. I just had it in my heart that if I could do that, that would just be the biggest career highlight. And honestly, the way that that worked out was complete divine intervention, quite literally bumping into the CEO of the company that runs those events and going, I'm a yoga teacher if you're looking for anyone. And then little did I know I would do so many events for them, and I would get to teach in those places not just once, but a handful and a bunch of times. And honestly, that was every single time was the biggest pinch me moment, and I am so unbelievably grateful for that, because the company eventually decided to go in a different direction, and if I hadn't been able to do it then, I never would have been able to do that. And I'm just so filled with gratitude and happiness around that, because it's just huge. And as I said, I'm going through all of the sort of tangible things that have happened in the past year, and then I'll go into the growth and the transformation and how much I have grown in the last year as well. But another thing that sort of came from this last year is I started running in-person events. So I started running in-person moon circles each month, and these events were, after the first few times, don't get me wrong, the first few times I was like, oh my goodness, is anyone gonna come? But by like April this year, they were all completely selling out, which was honestly surreal, completely surreal, because I was just a yoga teacher doing this on my own, had an idea, posted about it on Instagram, and these events were filled with like 20 women wanting to gather underneath the full moon, and that in itself was just so unbelievably magical. And again, just so unbelievably grateful for that opportunity as well. I can't believe that it's all happened sort of that way. Anything else? I told you I didn't prepare for this. No, I think that really summarizes all of my online stuff, that, not online, my in-person stuff that really has grown and blossomed over the past year in terms of my career. It's been incredible. I have been able to buy myself a car. I have been able to not need to go back to my job in teaching, because I can make the same, if not more, doing this. And for that, I am so unbelievably grateful. I can't even fathom how, but just that faith and hard work paid off. And again, I do think Dubai is just one of the most fantastic places, because if you are driven and if you are passionate about something, Dubai responds to you so well, because it's full of people who are passionate and driven and want to make things happen. And I think that has a real magic to it. It really does. And I'm so grateful for the people I've met here. And as always, when you first move to a new country, it's trial and error, and finding your people can be challenging, but I can safely say that I'm definitely beginning to find my people and find my spaces, and it just makes me so unbelievably happy. So yeah, that is all of the physical things that have changed since being in Dubai. My world looks completely different, but also I think as well the transformation in me as a person since moving to Dubai has been unbelievably huge. So if you did watch the video of me this time last year, first of all, the biggest difference is I was platinum blonde and I'm not anymore. I've gone back to my natural hair color, and while this might seem really menial, it was quite a big step. And I think the whole year here has been a real step of remembering who I am and stepping into this really confident and grounded version of myself, and seeing my own value and seeing my own magic and my own light and what I can share with others. I also recently turned 25 as well, so I was 24 when I moved out here. I recently turned 25, and obviously that is, I feel like at this stage we sort of begin to settle into ourselves, so I've been really finding that as well. But honestly, moving here has proved to me that I'm so much more capable than I think. It's proved to me that I actually can find my people, and it's not necessarily me when I struggle with some people, because my life before this, I really struggled to find people that were on the same vibration as me. I was so passionate and so enthusiastic about things, and I didn't often feel like my enthusiasm was met. I felt like sometimes it was weird for me to be that passionate and share about these things, and I feel like here I've really stepped into that, and I've also found others that feel the same, which is really nice. What else? I've gone plant-based. I was vegetarian when I moved out here, turned plant-based. That was a really beautiful step in me healing my relationship with food and just nourishing my body. With that being said, the way in which I treat my body, and obviously this isn't completely down to Dubai, this is down to a whole wealth of factors, but for me, the way that I now even treat my body is with so much more love. I'll be honest, I can't remember the last time I actually went to the gym to do a weightlifting workout, because what moving here showed me was that that's actually not what I'm passionate about. I was doing that because everyone else was doing it, but what I love is Pilates and yoga and walking and this lower intensity, calming the nervous system kind of exercising of the body, which I also love. And I think what I'm trying to say with this is just this year and having moved to Dubai gave me the space, the support, the permission and sort of motivation and inspiration, I guess, to truly step into who I was meant to be. Another thing that I then started doing was, and I definitely didn't expect to start doing this, was I started soul coaching, which I was really hesitant about, but I realized that my job as a yoga teacher was kind of as an asana teacher, which is fine. For those of you who don't know, asana is the poses, but yoga is so much more than just poses. And I love sharing the yoga philosophy, and I love sharing all of the life lessons I've learned from yoga. And whilst I was doing this in my classes as much as I could, I realized that I really wanted an outlet for this. So what I did is I started doing what I call soul coaching, which is coaching towards your higher self. And this is my space to share all of the yoga philosophy, to share all of the things that yoga helped me through, but also all of the practices that yoga inspired me to try. So having moved out here, I learned how to read tarot. I became a sound healer. I started working with crystals and oracle cards, and these are things that I never did before. I never had the space and the sort of permission to do that. So that is all things that I share within that soul coaching offering, which I now have as well. And yeah, I think as a whole, Dubai has a real reputation for being a little bit materialistic, being quite superficial, and yeah, I don't know, it has a real sort of reputation about it, but I can safely say that I'm not someone who goes out and drinks every weekend. I'm not someone who is particularly fussed by going for like nice dinners. I'm plant-based. There's not that many options. There are great options in Dubai, but you know, like going out for dinner is not that exciting when you're plant-based. At least not as exciting when you're going to restaurants that don't have super great options for you. But saying that, there is such another side to Dubai that I think no one really knows. There's such a beautiful, slow, gentle side to Dubai where there are communities of people who are so creative and just want to share their creativities, from like boutique art studios to women's circles to candle making workshops and floral arranging, and these are all things I never ever would have had the opportunity to experience, and people I never would have had the opportunity to meet if I hadn't been in Dubai. So as much as you may feel Dubai has this reputation, I promise you there is such another side to Dubai, of the spiritual side, where people are so open and welcoming, but also so deeply connected to their intuition, the spiritual side of life. But then there's also this side of creatives and people who just are here and living lives that they manifested, and just living so in such alignment with their truth, in such a non-braggy, non-Instagrammy, non-materialistic way. And that is huge. I think that's one of my favorite things about Dubai, is that most of the people you meet here are those sorts of people who are really driven to manifesting a life that's in alignment with them. And I'm not saying they're like real entrepreneurial types, not at all. Of course there's loads of them too. But what I'm saying is that usually something brings you here and you find that everyone is moving through a very similar experience, and that in itself creates a really lovely community as well, which I love. In terms of life in Dubai, I love it. Obviously the way of life is very different to the UK where I lived before. However, it's not that different to the island I'm from in the Caribbean. Obviously the standard of living is quite high, but what this means is that you have the opportunity to, I think, enjoy life for what it is a little bit more, as opposed to always being stressed. And that's one thing, is there's much less stress in Dubai. But the ability to just go to these beautiful places and be surrounded by so much abundance, even if you're not necessarily spending money, just being in these spaces helps to bring a real sort of higher vibration, I guess, to life, which is really, really lovely. And there are so many things to do in Dubai which are completely free. Even just going to some of like the less popular beaches and spending time in the boutique cafes. I'm such a cafe girl, and obviously in the Middle East, cafe culture is a huge thing. So you will find me in a multitude of different cafes given the day of the week. But yes, I truly do love it here. One of those things is how unbelievably convenient it is. I have never lived anywhere as convenient as Dubai. You can have anything on your doorstep in like an hour, and it's amazing. And I think I'm spoiled. And if I ever move away, which I'm sure eventually I will, but if I ever move away, I don't know what I'll do, because I just love being able to order something and it arrive within the hour. That's like magic. Love it. And that's one thing that's great about Dubai, and actually something I would say that makes moving to Dubai so much easier actually compared to like when I moved to the UK, is that if anything goes wrong, so like my car's battery died, and whilst in the UK it would be an absolute nightmare trying to get a taxi and trying to buy yourself a new battery. Here I literally just called someone, and within an hour they'd come out, they'd replaced it, I'd paid them, and they had gone. That was like insane. And that's one thing I would say, is that if you're thinking of moving to Dubai and you're not really sure, is that you can get everything you need here. Like, you do not have to stress about there not being sort of the things you're used to. Trust me, there is everything you need, and things you didn't even know you needed here, which is really, really amazing, I think. I guess what I could go into now is any tips for fellow yoga teachers that are moving here, or even just generally anyone who wants to move as a freelancer to Dubai. The tips that I might have is have a clear vision. because things move very, very quickly here. So if you have a clear vision of what you want and where you're going, you will know what aligns with that and what doesn't. The next thing I would say is find your people. Dubai doesn't have to be all brunches and boozing. There is such a slow side to Dubai and so many intentional communities that would love to welcome you into them. I would also say that, what other tips for moving to Dubai? I would say be brave, have savings. It's another thing I would say. My savings definitely kept me afloat for the first few months. Definitely have savings, because even just renting houses, you need to make sure that you have like the government contract sorted out and things like that. So have a little bulk of money. I would say if you're moving anywhere, that's a good idea, but especially here to Dubai. Obviously Dubai, the cost of living is a lot more expensive than some other places, so just making sure that you've got a job that can provide that, and when you are as a freelancer thinking about how much you want to earn, keeping that in mind. That's definitely something that I didn't get right at the beginning. I had to then revise, okay, I'm not quite earning as much as I want to, what can shift, what can I add in? So yeah, I think those would be my main tips, but also just really enjoy it and don't worry about it not necessarily looking like you thought it might just yet. Trust that if you've made your way here, everything will find its way to you. And something I would also say is that Dubai, more than anywhere, the more you put yourself out there, the more comes to you in return. And obviously we know that anyway, but the more you put yourself out there, the more communities you find, the more will come your way. So just be brave enough to put yourself out there, message people. The majority of my friends I've made through really forward, like one of them I messaged and was like, hi, like, do you want to go for coffee? I know we live nearby to each other. And another one actually came to my moon circle and messaged me and was like, we should go for coffee. And it is this really real forwardness, but it's really lovely. So now don't be afraid to be a bit forward and ask to go for coffee with a friend and make friends that way, and really put yourself out there as well. Okay, so last thing I will cover in this video is what's next. So obviously I moved to Dubai having barely taught much yoga, because I just sort of recently finished my yoga teacher training and still had my corporate job. But yeah, so what next? Obviously my life has changed so much more than I could ever have imagined in this year. I did not expect to be where I am right now 1 year later. I'd made vision boards and done manifesting, and I didn't expect that I would get to this stage and my life look like this. So I've been spending a lot of time recently sort of thinking about what happens next, and obviously being so unbelievably grateful for where I am and being so unbelievably happy with all that I've accomplished, but also being really forward thinking. And I think as someone who's self-employed and has their own business, it's always important to be forward thinking. And with that in mind, I am really channeling all of my energies now into growing my online space, which is so unbelievably exciting. I'm really, really excited about it because I'm so lucky to have a community here in Dubai, but I know that I also have a community just from YouTube and from my life in other places that is all around the world, and I really want to create a space for that in an online community. So I am really focusing on YouTube, and I will be posting more yoga classes here, and if you have any requests for videos, please let me know, because I will be really channeling my energy into YouTube, into my social media. I'm also going to be channeling my energy into my online yoga membership. So I have an online yoga membership where I share classes aligned with the lunar cycles and sound healings and intention setting workshops. I'm really going to be focusing on expanding that. I'm also going to be focusing on my soul coaching and clients and things like that, and growing my soul coaching. It's officially launching to sort of the public this month, I think. If I'm brave enough. No, it will be this month. I'm saying it now. Recently, I've just been sort of trialing it with some clients in the first half of the year, so it's ready to launch. And I will also be thinking about other ways in which I can really hold space virtually for this community that is slowly growing, which is very exciting. And I think something to be said as well is if you are a yoga teacher and you're sort of thinking about online, I'm only thinking about online now, and it's taken a really long time to grow. And so please don't, also a message to myself, I guess, is please don't ever like lose faith or sort of give up because you feel it's not growing quick enough. My online membership has only just taken off, and I've been doing it for almost a year now, and I now have a few more clients where it's seeming worth my time, whereas before I was making videos for like one person, which is great. I love that, but still there was it was a hard slog for sure. But yeah, really focusing on online, my online membership, my free offerings on YouTube and Instagram, my soul coaching, which is my one-to-one clients, but also really thinking about group events that I can hold online, group courses I can hold online, to really share all of this magic that I'm learning, but also really share all of sort of my purpose with you, because I truly do believe that the biggest thing I'd gained from moving to Dubai and going freelance was finding my purpose, and I just love being able to step into that and to embody that in even more depth as I move into another year living here. I guess that's the last thing in terms of what next is, am I staying? Yes, I am staying. I've signed a lease for another year in our flat. We also got a cat, didn't mention that. We've adopted a cat, so me and the cat are here. My boyfriend is moving back to London for a few months for some worky bits, but I am staying here because my life and work are here, which is very exciting. And the plan is to be here for at least another year, if not another few years after this. We're still not sure if we'll stay forever, but what we do know is that Dubai is perfect for right now. It's so much fun. It has so much to do, so much to create, so much to learn, and that is what we are really, really focused on at the moment. So yes, that is everything for this life update. I feel like it might have been a bit rambly, but I really hope if you made it to this far that you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know by writing a comment below or liking the video. If you want to connect on any other sort of platforms, you can follow me on Instagram at Amara Thompson. You can check out my online yoga membership, which I will link below. I'll also leave my website below, which has all of my offerings on there. But otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I am sending you so much love, and I will see you in my next video. As always, thank you so much for being here. This year wouldn't have been possible without all of those people supporting me, so thank you.